I thought it could be fun to respond to a few of the most prominent comments on my God of War Ragnarok video. Not getting into fights over anything, but there's a few points I'd like to address and clarify. While the overall message of my video is negative, there are significant sections of praise where I talk about what I honestly think they have improved. But when you do a video that both criticizes and praises something, you get a weird breed of commenter that isn't satisfied with the degree of negativity present. They want more of it. There are people who hate everything about Ragnarok, and I'm not one of them. So if you thought the only people who take issue with a video like this are the ones that want you to be more positive and defend the game in any aspect, that's certainly not the case. Some people actually think my video wasn't harsh enough because I didn't rip on the aspects that they hated. The biggest case is in the characters of Odin and Thor, which I found to be interesting, and I thought they fit into the world really well. It's not an extravagant, epically dramatized world of the gods like the old God of War series. It's more grounded and simple, so I think their toned-down personalities work. I've seen a lot of people upset by the way Odin speaks, and I get that. I reserve most of my hate for the way someone speaks for Atreus, but I'm not saying it's an invalid criticism. It just isn't one I cared about because, I hate to break it to you, I am not a fan of Norse mythology. Never in my life have I cared about any of these characters or stories, so my appreciation for this portrayal of Thor as a big fat drunk and Odin as a bitchy manager comes entirely from my exposure to the characters through the Marvel movies. I thought it was fun to see them in a very different light, in a different kind of world. I think their personalities work in the world of the God of War reboot, and them being different from what I'm used to made them interesting to me. And like I said in my video, if you have an issue with their portrayal, I'm not saying you're wrong at all, but I am literally incapable of getting upset over them because I have no knowledge or investment in them in the first place. Next, let's talk about Atreus, the boy, the main character of the new God of War series, beloved by so many fans and critics, giving a heart to the God of War series and showing us all that storytelling in video games can be so much more. And to the rest of us, an annoying whiny brat that haunts us while we sleep with his shrieking voice. I hate Atreus. If you're watching this, you may hate him too. Many people don't think he's annoying, but I do. And the defense I often hear anytime I complain about this character is this: Atreus is a kid, he's supposed to be annoying. What did you expect? First, I just want to say that a creative team or individual intentionally designing something to be annoying doesn't make it any less annoying, and it doesn't necessarily justify it, especially when the annoyance factor isn't needed to tell the story, which I would argue in God of War it's not. The argument of it's stylistically designed to be that way doesn't excuse the state something is in. It takes me back to a moment I had with my best friend when we went to see The Bourne Supremacy in the movie theater on opening night. I really liked the first one, and in the sequel, so much of the movie was shot in nauseating shaky cam that it ruined the action scenes and made my head hurt by the end of it. Coming out of the theater, discussing the film, as my group of friends always did, I and a few others said it was almost unwatchable due to the whole thing being done in shaky cam. It was hard to enjoy the movie. My friend ended up defending it by saying it was intentionally shot that way. It was how the director wanted to present the film. And I remember saying to him, if the director shot the whole movie with a turd hanging in front of the lens, it doesn't make it any better to say that he meant to do it. You're still staring at a turd. With Atreus, apart from his voice, which you just can't change unless you change the actor, the way he acts easily could have been different. He could have had the same drama and feelings, but expressed them differently. I have a hard time believing that this is the boy Kratos raised. But really, what strikes me about the comment saying Atreus is obviously going to be annoying because he's a kid, as well as the accompanying comment of "you just hate kids," is that these arguments apparently come from people who have never interacted with children, known children, or been a child themselves. They speak as if there were only one way to write child characters. All you have to do is look at Ellie in The Last of Us, Hugo in A Plague Tale: Innocence, hell, Mega Man as a kid. The entire town of South Park is inhabited by child characters that are incredibly varied in their personalities. Not every kid acts like Atreus. Just because someone hates Atreus doesn't mean they hate all kids in video games. I hate how the character of Atreus is written and acted, not that he is a kid. It's easy to imagine other versions of Atreus, one that doesn't yell at us every time he doesn't get what he wants, one that doesn't constantly cause problems for us to have to clean up, maybe one that's already a bit older, so his voice isn't as shrill. The last thing I've been dying to respond to is the part about my tribute in God of War Ragnarok, the whatever section. Some people think I'm totally imagining this, and that's their right, but I'll lay out why I'm pretty sure this moment is directed at not just critics of Atreus, but me specifically. It's not because I think I'm so important, or that I think they're angry about my video, it's more of a combination of a few things. Gaming companies are very aware of the feedback and communities around their games. Small game or big game, it doesn't matter. Depending on the size of the company, they may even have specific employees dedicated to knowing everything said about their game. They watch reviews, mainstream and independent, and without a doubt, Santa Monica Studio has seen not just the glowing positive articles and videos about God of War 2018, but they've also seen the big negative feedback, even if it's just out of pure curiosity. Hundreds of people work on these games, and plenty of them want to see what people are saying. They've seen Joseph Anderson's video, they've seen Matthew Mitosis's critique, and they've seen mine. The video has 750,000 views, and it's the most targeted, emotional, and infamous piece of negative media about the supposed game of the generation. They've seen it. So my theory is that the video made it around the offices of Santa Monica Studio, and the section about Atreus became some kind of in-office joke. They didn't take it too seriously, but it was memorable. While they were designing the scene where Atreus starts seeing recreations of his past, they thought it would be funny to have him say whatever over and over, just like my edit in the video. So I'm not saying the entire sequence was made because they wanted to take a stab at me. I'm saying they were already going to do this sequence and decided it would be cute to toss in the whatever section at the end, and it was cute, it was funny. And they're certainly capable of it, since they have paid tribute to people in the God of War community, content creators. Just look at this moment where God of War Ragnarok player Black Thunder is given his own section on the map. Game developers do this stuff all the time. Look at Mortal Kombat, and how they named Johnny Cage's knee attack in MKX the Dizzy Knee because of the player Dizzy in MK9 who destroyed people by abusing that very same knee attack. I myself have appeared in a few games. They are indie titles, not AAA, but after having been approached by developers, independent and AAA, privately to discuss criticisms and ideas I've had, and seeing that developers large and small end up referencing known players and memes in their games, and that they can have a sense of humor about their critics, yeah, I'm pretty sure the whatever section came from my video. It's just too similar for it not to be, in my opinion. Though of course I could be wrong, and it's just a hilarious coincidence. Lastly, to wrap things up, I'll mention that I totally forgot about the boss fight with Thor's sons in the last game, something that also happened in my 2018 video, which is pretty funny. It is admittedly a decent boss fight. It's okay, it's the best in the game by far, and on New Game Plus, I'd even say the fight is really good. So there you go, some praise for God of War 2018, how do you like that? I could probably do a whole video on things I like about 2018. Maybe I will.